We're keeping the conversation going tonight, folks, and I want to bring in someone who can help us understand the legal side of this Trump indictment. Adam Kamenstein is a former federal prosecutor and partner at Adams, Dwork, and Kamenstein. Adam, I'm getting real Groundhog Day vibes from all of this. Back in March, we had another indictment. We were tracking Trump's whereabouts. We were looking out for activity around the courthouse, but that was then. This is now. What's different about this indictment?
Yeah, so in terms of Groundhog's Day, probably the only similarity between the two is that they both turn on documents and records, but after that, the similarities end. So the case back in New York was brought a local violation, specifically falsifying business records regarding this hush money payments to Stormy Daniels through his attorney, Michael Cohen. Of course, is a federal case, will be tried in federal court, and instead of a district attorney, you'll have a prosecution made up of the Department of Justice, led by Special Counsel Jack Smith. The sentences actually, quite frankly, are rather different between the two. The crimes charged in New York are Class E felonies. They're normally misdemeanors, the falsifying business records, but because they were done for the purpose of violating another crime election laws, they were elevated to a felony, but still they're the lowest level felony in New York State, whereas the crimes Mr. Trump is charged with in the federal indictment are obviously extremely serious crimes, 31 of those counts being under the Espionage Act, and then 5 other serious crimes as well. So really night and day between the two.
Yeah. A lot has been said about the venue for this particular case. Florida, a state that went to Trump in the 2016 and 2020 presidential elections. This is a well-known person on their home turf, in a sense. How do you get an unbiased jury with such a high-profile defendant?
Well, I'd say, first of all, America's got a good bit of experience with this. For all of its messiness as an open democracy, we've done a pretty good job making sure we've got fair trials in high-profile cases before. I mean, take, for example, everything from OJ to Oklahoma City to more recently George Floyd, right? There probably was hardly a person in Minneapolis that wasn't familiar with the what happened to Mr. Floyd. So we're pretty good at that as a society. But it's going to take a large jury pool and a very extensive voir dire process, which is going to be overseen by the court and done in conjunction with both prosecutor and defense counsel in trying to screen out jurors who can maintain an unbiased and open mind towards the evidence. Obviously, people will have watched the news and may have developed some sort of opinion. We don't necessarily want, as jurors, people that haven't seen any news. I don't know what that may say about a juror if they're completely oblivious to what's going on in the world. But just because you're familiar through the news and so forth with some of the facts of the case doesn't mean you come to the jury panel with a biased or preformed opinion or judgment. So that'll be the job of defense counsel, prosecutor, and the judge to weed out through that large jury pool those that can still retain an open mind and listen to the evidence critically.
Yeah, you mentioned an extensive process, a large jury pool. What can you say about the timeline here? I mean, how long might that take?
It might take, it might take as much as a couple months. Long before the jury is, or the potential prospective jurors are brought into the courtroom, both the government and defense counsel will come up with a long list of questions called voir dire, which in federal court, unlike state court, like in the New York case, for example, you'll have lawyers will stand up at their table and ask the jury questions. Very different process in federal court. They'll submit a list of, potentially hundreds of questions to the court. The judge will decide which questions the jury gets to ask, or the jury is asked, rather. And either the court will ask those questions or they may permit counsel for both sides to ask their own questions. So that process of submitting those questions will take place long before the jury even comes to the courtroom.